Hello and welcome to Easy Project webinar. My name is Hedvig Jacebová and today I would like to talk about Agile Board plugin. During the presentation, if you have any questions, please use the Q&A section and I will try to answer all your questions after each section or at the end of the presentation. So today I would like to talk about the Agile Board plugin, which is in the core of Easy Project. And a part of this Agile plugin is Scrum and Kanban feature. Let's first start with some theory. So first of all, Agile is a project management approach which is used mostly for software development projects, but also it's used for complex and unsecure projects. Actually, there was a manifesto for Agile software development signed in 2001 when the leading developers were talking about when the Agile approach should be used and when it should not be used. The outcome of this are 4 values where or when this approach should be used. I just wrote them down here so I can just read them. So it is used for individuals and interactions over processes and tools, working software over comprehensive documentation, customer collaboration over contract negotiation, and responding to change over following a plan. Now, I also said that in Easy Project you can find a Scrum and Kanban. So what is Scrum? It is an agile methodology with well-defined roles, ceremonies, artifacts, life cycle, etc. And Kanban, this is a scheduling system for lean manufacturing or just-in-time manufacturing. So there is this difference between Scrum and Kanban, but very simply said, it is that Scrum is Scrum is limited, Kanban is unlimited. In Easy Project, you can find also a Kanban board, and this is a visualization of work items and its actual states in any time. So much about the theory, and now I would like to go with you for Scrum. So I'll show you how to set up a Scrum, how to work with sprints. I'll show you charts, and then we will go to Kanban board. So I'll show you how you can set up your Kanban board, how you can work in the Kanban board. And the last part will be about Scrum Master's dashboard. So Scrum Master, this is a role in this approach. And the Scrum Master is a person who is coordinating the work in Scrum. And he's looking over all the processes and the team, and is helping the team to work according to the correct methodology. So let's start with Scrum. And I have prepared here a project where I have my Scrum, because Scrum is on project level, so you have to enable it in the modules of your project. And first where I went with my Scrum is the project backlog. Of course, if it is completely new, you have to create a new sprint. I'll show you later how to create a new sprint. So let's talk about the project backlog now. In the project backlog, you can find here 3 columns. And in the first column, you can find all the tasks from this current project. You can also set up your Scrum that you will see here, tasks from all the projects and all the tasks from the whole application. So it's up to you how you set it up, because if you still want to see only specific tasks, you can create your quick filter for that. Or you can still go through filter and create a new filter and save it and tag it in heading. So you can quickly find, for example, features, bugs, or some other specific tasks. So we have here our tasks backlog, and now I can move one task or more tasks like this to my project backlog. Or this is the product backlog. So the second column, here you can add tasks which are created to work on your product, which well, for which you are using this Scrum. Normally, there is another role which is working with this part of Scrum, and that is the product owner. So he can choose tasks which will go to product development. And now out of these tasks, I can choose which will go to my current sprint backlog. Actually, on each task, you can see here a number. And this number, that is the evaluation of the task. Here it is story points. So we are using in this part story points. You can also use estimated time or estimated time minus spend time, so the remaining time. And like this, evaluate your tasks and see how much time it will take to finish it. Maybe it is the best to use story points because that is a complex number. Which represents not just, let's say, the estimated time, but also complexity of work or the risk of the task. If you are adding tasks to your sprint backlog and they don't have this number, system will ask you to add the story point for each task. So like this, every task which goes to sprint has its own the story points. So this is the backlog. That is pretty much all from the backlog. You can also here search for a concrete task which you would like to find and add to your sprint backlog. So we have added here 3 tasks. And now I can go to my sprint. To go to my sprint, I can click here on this right side, or here I have a list of sprints. So actually in Scrum, you can have unlimited list of sprints. In my case, I have just 1 sprint. So we are in our current sprint, named Sprint 1, which began yesterday and will end in 1 week. Its goal is to develop a product. And now this is my board, my sprint, on which we are working during, let's say, the development meeting. When we can look at the tasks, we can see in which state these tasks are. We can see what is in our backlog and, for example, assign tasks to users. You can still find here different colors of tasks according to their priority, and you can replace them like this. Normally, when I'm replacing tasks from one column to another, I'm also changing attributes of tasks because each column is set up for different status. So when I go with cursor on my task, I can see who is the author of the task, who is assignee. I can see also the status. So here I can see it is in progress. If I change it, I will see that it is for user testing. For example, if I move it to the last column, I set up the last column to also assign the task automatically to one person, specific person, then it's going to have also a new assignee. So like this, you can change attributes on tasks just by moving tasks in the columns via drag and drop. When I move the task to the last one, I will close the task. It is, of course, up to you how many columns you need to have in your sprint and what will be their name. You can also see here the story points. So the first number is how many story points is in this concrete column and how many story points we have actually in our sprint. You can, of course, create a limitation for sprints. So when I move the task somewhere else, the task will change, but I can also do this, that I will open the task in the new window. For example, this animation one. And I change the status for the review. So when I go back, task will move to code review. So it's like this. So we can work with tasks in this way. But of course, we have here the swimline. With swimline, we can group tasks also not according to status, but also according to assignee, priority, task type, author, milestone, parent task, or category. So if I change choose the priority, I can change the priority of the task just via drag and drop. Or I can reassign tasks like this. So this is about the sprint, the current sprint, but we also can find here charts. So let's see the charts on this sprint. The first one is the burn down chart. And on the burn down chart, we can see first this ideal work remaining. This is calculated out of the number of tasks and their story points. And it shows us what would be the ideal work on tasks, what we should do each day to finish our sprint on time. Then we can find here this real work remaining. And this shows us how much work we have already done and how much work we still have ahead to finish our sprint. And the last one is tasks remaining. So it shows us the number of tasks and well, it will go down eventually when we will finish all the tasks. The second one, the second chart, this is just a bar chart, which shows us how many tasks we have completed so far. I have created this sprint yesterday. Yesterday I closed few tasks. Today I closed also 2 tasks. So we have only 2 bars in here. But when you are closing it daily, you will see here more data. And the last one, this is the historical sprint performance. So far we have here only 1 sprint, but if you have more sprints in your project and you are working on them, you will see here in each column the sprint and the line which will show you what is your plan and what is the reality of your story points, of closed story points. Actually, the plan is here 0 because I didn't set up any plan for this concrete sprint. So these are the charts, and I'll show you how you can set up your sprint. So first of all, we can set up the columns in here. And here, this part is the most important because you are choosing what will be the status of the task when it is assigned to a concrete column. You can also predefine the assignee for a specific column. And you can add some more Kanban states. Here is the setup for the last column when the task is done. And here in this part, here we have the preview, how the task will look like in our sprint. So I can add into the subtitle, for example, the task type, or I can add there the priority, milestone, subject, or probably top project or sub-project, if there are any sub-projects. Or you can add here the date, for example, the due date of the task. You can also add the task type, the icon for the task type. And if you apply workflow on sprint, then this workflow which you have set up in your administration will be applied. So only specific people will be able to close tasks. So of course, only the people who have permissions for that. So this is how we can set it up. When I return back to my sprint, I can see here the icon of feature request. So when you want to create a new sprint, when your current sprint is finished, you can simply go to New Sprint, add a name to your sprint, create a goal for your sprint. It is predefined that this sprint is just for 1 week. You can connect it with a specific milestone if there is any in your current project. You can use here if you want to see all the tasks from the whole application in your backlog. This option is to limit how many tasks you will see in the last column, because if you have a big project, too many tasks, then this column will be just full of tasks in few days. So you can choose that you will see there tasks which were closed 3 days ago. You can choose how would you like to estimate your tasks or evaluate your tasks. And if you still have tasks in your current sprint or other sprints, you can move them all to your current sprint, to the new sprint. So this is how we can work with Scrum. Just let me know if you have any questions, or we can move directly to Kanban board. So I don't see any questions coming. Then I move to Kanban board. So Kanban board is similar to Sprint, but as I said, it is unlimited. So there is no limitation in time or in the number of people which can work with the current sprint. But here, again, we have columns in here and the swim lane, according to which I can group my tasks. Like this, I can see again what is performance, or what is my performance on, or the status of my project, and I can move tasks across the board. Again, this feature is a project feature, so you have to enable it in the specific project. But if you are using this Kanban, you don't always have to just set it up in the settings of project, but you can also make or show your tasks not in list but also in Kanban. So how to do that? I'm in the list of tasks. You can do that also globally, actually. So when you go to options, instead of list, you can choose this Kanban view. For the Kanban view, we have to set up how we will group our tasks. So it can be according to status or task type. And now again, here we have the preview, and I can change or add the subtitle. I can see, for example, here the remaining time as info. It will appear in this right corner here. And then I can also add the avatar, so it means it will be, for example, the assignee date, when it should end, so for example, the due date, and then also icon for the task type. And like this, I will see all my tasks from this specific project in the Kanban view. So this is pretty much it about the Kanban. So I will return back to my content, and let's see now how you can set up the homepage from Scrum for Scrum Master. Because actually here I am in the demo of Easy Project, and I am looking at it from the point of view of Scrum Master, which I chose in here. But I just added here some few more modules to show you how you can set it up. So as a Scrum Master, if you have to watch over more sprints from different projects, you can add all these sprints to your homepage. So this is sprint from some project in the system. Here is the sprint on which we are working today. And you can work on this sprint also from here, from your dashboard. So the task will be updated also from here, like that. To add this to your home page, you can simply go to Customize this page and find the module Scrum Board and choose the name of, choose your project, and the actual or current sprint will appear right on your dashboard. You can also show only your own tasks which are assigned to you. So I will return back to my home page. And what else you can find here? For example, here is the list of tasks which are assigned to me, or tasks of which I am the author. So if I want to, I can also show them in Kanban instead of list, but I have to set up how they will be grouped. And then, for example, what can help you with tracking all the time and if everything is going well with your current sprint, you can create this gauge. So how did I set it up? This is the gauge where I'm watching tasks, and actually I'm watching story points on tasks. And I chose the range, the dynamic one. And in the first tag, I chose that I would like to watch over all the tasks which are in my current sprint in this project and are closed. But the range is the whole sprint, or all the tasks in the whole sprint. So it will calculate all the story points. And here I can see all the story points which are already closed. So like this, I can see the completion, or what is the completion of my current sprint. Of course, this number can raise, but by the end of the week, I have to close it. So this line should be green. You can also use trends, which are new in Easy Project. So here, for example, I'm tracking story points, or here billable spend time. So it's up to you how you are evaluating your tasks in Scrum. So either according to story points or spend time. So again, for the story points, you can choose the trend on entity Scrum. And you will choose the story points. And how to do that, for example, I chose here the filter for all the closed tasks today, and I can compare it to a specific or to previous period, or to a specific period I chose, for example, yesterday. It's up to you. You can also choose another sprint. Actually, the same thing for the spend time. So this is pretty much it. For the Agile board, for the homepage of Scrum Master. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to use the Q&A section. I will try to answer your question. But I hope you liked our webinar. So if you have, sorry, so I'll just start the poll. So if you want to, you can rate our today's webinar. And I'm still waiting for questions. We are preparing some more webinars. You can find already a list of prepared webinars on our site, so you can register there and wait for them. And if you have any ideas, what would you like to see the next time, just let us know. If you have more questions after watching this webinar, just drop us an email. You can just send an email to my email address in here, or you can just answer to the invitation of this webinar. So thank you very much for rating this webinar. And I don't see any questions in the Q&A section. So thank you again for watching, and I wish you a nice day. Bye-bye.